This is why if you're going to try to get somebody to do something they're resisting, if you're going to try to implement a big change, for example, you better not be a weenie. It requires strength. Strength is not a bad word, even though there are a lot of folks who think that it is. Let's take you through a real-life example. I was at Radford University in Virginia, and an optometrist who attended the seminar, 37 years old, a woman, she said, Glenn, I have 3 employees working in my practice. She said, I was a brand new manager. I'd never been in any position of authority over other people, knew nothing about human resources. And she said, 2 of my employees were great, but 1 was not. And she said, I had not been firm. I was weak. I had not been fair or consistent either, because I was holding my good employees accountable for a whole lot of things that I let the problem employee get away with. And she said, I knew it, but she said, my 2 good employees were constantly reminding me, and they were nagging and saying, well, why do you let her get away with this? We couldn't do it. She said, they were right. I was a bad manager. But she said, one day I had enough. I caught my employee doing something that was totally inappropriate, completely unacceptable, and she said, I fired the employee. And she said, naive me actually thought that when the 2 good employees heard that I had finally stepped up to the plate and taken care of business and gotten rid of the problem employee, she said, I actually thought the 2 good employees would come into my office and say, thank you so much. But this is not what happened. In fact, quite the opposite. When the 2 good employees heard that she had fired the problem employee, they came stomping into her office and said, how could you do that to her? The optometrist said, how could I do what? They said, how could you fire her? The optometrist said, you hate her guts. I thought you'd be happy about it. And they said, we don't like her, but you cannot fire her. And the optometrist said, okay, I'll bite. Why is it I can't fire my own employee? And they said, because she's a single mom, struggling to feed 2 babies. She needs this job really bad. Hire her back. The optometrist said, I don't think so. She said, this is not a democracy. The decision's not up for vote. I don't need your approval. And she said, Glenn, I could not believe how quickly the situation spiraled out of control. And she admitted again she had been weak in the past, and she paid for her sins big time. She said, Glenn, my 2 employees looked at me and said, well, if you don't hire her back, we both quit. Now we have a mutiny. Ladies and gentlemen, put yourself in that optometrist's shoes. You started your morning at 8 o'clock with 3 employees. By 8:30, you were down to 2. And if you don't hire back the ones you just cut loose, you'd be facing the very real possibility of being down to none. What would you do in that case? Adios. There is no decision left to be made. The decision has already been made for the manager. She has no options here. When people give you ultimatums like that, when aggressive people, in this case aggressive employees, make threats, we have a term for those employees. We call them terrorists. Terrorists are people who get what they want using extortion. They threaten to hurt people or do bad things if you don't give in to their ways. And our country has a very firm policy on negotiating with terrorists. What is our country's policy? We don't negotiate. And by the way, that is not unique to the United States. That is the most common policy of most civilized societies in the world for a very simple reason. It's not about politics. It's not about what you believe personally. It's about reality. And the reality is You can't negotiate with somebody who does not have integrity. You must be able to trust any person you're negotiating with to do what they say they're going to do. And the optometrist said, Glenn, I'm so glad to hear you say this. Because she said, I didn't negotiate with my employees. But she said, I didn't think it through logically, like you guys just did. She said, I kind of lost it. She said, I got a little bit emotional about it. She said, I looked at my employees and said, ladies, there's the door. And would you like to guess how the employees responded? Oh, we were just teasing. You didn't think we were serious, did you? The optometrist admitted she needed to step up and define who was in control of the situation. She had not done that.